Well, that was ridiculously long. I think I need to trim that down just a bit. Still working on it. It is what it is, but I was able to get something a little bit different. And I don't know if I like it or not, but we'll see what happens. What's going on, everybody? Finger farts, baby. What? That's not how it goes? No, that's not how it goes. Come on now. If you're going to do it right. Come on. What's up, Elizabeth? Good to see you. D Rabbits. I'm sorry about the stream. I know streaming makes people have to stream, but I usually have to stream before I stream. So therefore, if I have to stream before you stream, wait, if I have to stream before I stream, then you have to stream before I stream a stream or something. Uh, blah, 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 blah. So who's been keeping up with the just weird dumpster fire that this country is kind of turning into? I know that pisses some people off to hear me say that, and I don't really give a fuck. Because if you can't look and see what's going on and tell the forest from the trees, then you might be in a cult. You just might be. We've got insider trading going on. I'm sorry, but there's no other real interpretation of what's going on with that whole situation with the insider trading. When you've got billionaires who are using information from the top of the top telling you, hey, this is coming. And then all of a sudden you use that information to make yourself billions of dollars, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, significant amounts of money. That's insider trade. They put Martha Stewart in prison for that, for the exact same thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene did. They put Martha Stewart in prison for exact same thing. Oh, I'm sure there'll be some people out there who will defend what Trump did. We're talking about his threatening to impose tariffs, threatening to impose tariffs. Everybody are coming, and then I'm gonna pause tariffs. So make sure you can make your money. It's that. I mean, that's not a thing. You know, when you fucking post a tweet or a Truth Social post saying now's a good time to make money, now's a good time to sell, where the fuck he said. Yeah, and then we have the SAVE Act that was just passed because we have four spineless Democrats who want to, cross party lines. And yes, that is going to disenfranchise many people from voting. I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the Republicans were all about states' rights to do what they wish and run their elections and just, no government interference with states' rights. Unless it's things that they want the government to interfere on. Like, it's just fucking crazy. I'm sorry, I said I shouldn't say that, and I'm not gonna say it's crazy. It's Trumpy. That's the word we're gonna use. We're gonna use Trumpy. We're gonna call it Trumpy because that's what it is. It's Trumpy. I'm just waiting to see what happens next and how much he will continue to get away without any consequences. So here's the thing. This is what I really wanted to talk about. So, like yesterday, the day before, the Supreme Court said that Trump had to facilitate the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, right? In a 9-0 unanimous decision, the Supreme Court said you have to facilitate bringing him back. Screw disenfranchise. How about the government just making it impossible for women to vote? Yeah, so that's the thing. It's not impossible. It's just extremely fucking difficult. Women, everybody go out there and get your passport. Every last one of you go out and get your passport. In fact, everybody get your passport because I don't think they're going to stop here. Trumpy Dumpy won't fall. He'll have to be pushed like the OG Dumpty in the story. Just saying. I'm not going to sit there and say, I'm not going to call for violence, political violence, or any kind of violence, really. I'm not going to do it. Simply because that's just not how we're going to roll. We're not going to be like that. Okay. I'm going to tell everybody that they need to get out there and do the work, put the work into the polls. And state, local, city council, everything, all those elections, get out there, run some campaigns. If you see that somebody is running unopposed, if you can find somebody or you yourself can run, then, Give them some opposition. I know it's difficult. Right? It's not something that's super easy to do. It takes a lot of money to run a successful campaign. It just does. But we got to do something. We got to, use our voices. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. I use my voice. I talk to people, and whatever, come what may. What is going on? So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, the Supreme Court says Trump had to bring him back, right? Had to bring back Garcia. He never should have been, right? And here's the thing. This is what this Supreme Court decision reinforces. It reinforces due process. Because in this decision, the Supreme Court said you have to give other people whom you plan to deport the ability, the notice, and the ability to present themselves. In other words, give their reasons or reasons for legal standing in the country. Amazing. I was thinking impeachment or Article 23. It's possible. PhD Tony in the house. Everybody on your best behavior. Make sure you sit straight. I forgot my water. Dang it. Sit up straight. Have your pencil sharpened. Yes, PhD Tony insists on pencils because that was new technology when he was a boy in school. So therefore, it imprinted upon him, and that's what he's going to expect us to use: pencils. Quick act, smart people. That's right. We need to act smart. Today, indubitably, use big words like that. Gosh of heckfire, what's going down? It's been a minute. Yeah, due process. How quaint. Exactly. Due process. What's that? The Supreme Court says no. These people that you plan on deporting must be afforded due process. Interesting. So, what does that mean for all these other deportees who did not receive due process? What's that mean? I'm curious. Is there going to be somebody out there that's going to take up these cases and force, because of this Supreme Court decision, setting a precedence again, or actually reinforcing the precedence that people need, or people are afforded due process, regardless if you think they're in here legally or not? That's the thing. We're having a conversation asking, well, were they here legally? You already deported them. So that's why we have due process. Another thing that's happening is that we've got ICE agents rounding up people whom are of Latin descent simply because they're of Latin descent. There was a woman who was arrested in, oh man, I had the story pulled up and then I closed my freaking, whatchamacallit, where'd it go? Let's see here. Let's take a look at this one here. This is why, oh, I don't want to do this stupid. Two things that look alike. There you go. Confirm. Go away. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let me share my screen. Let's see. What am I looking for? There's that. Let me share my screen. We're going to look at this. And this is the reason why this is extremely important. Well, we're going to start setting some things up. This is not good. I don't like it. Oh well, this is going to be. It is what it is. We're going to do it. Okay, so D Rabbits, I do want to let's talk about that for a second, right? Let's talk about the Garcia one, right? So in the Supreme Court proceeding, the government didn't even present, like, their reasoning for not bringing him back was, well, we made a mistake. It was an oopsie, and there's nothing we can really do about it. They didn't go in and say, no, we did verify that he is MS-13. We did verify that he was trafficking. We did verify this. We did verify that. And here it is. Here's the evidence that supports our decision to deport him. They didn't do any of that, which leads me to believe they don't have that information. They don't have that fucking evidence, because it's not true. Because this is a policy that's blanketly being put on people whom don't vote Republican. Because I guarantee you there are some white folk in this country who vote Republican who are not here, who are just not documented here. They have tattoos that's forbidden by the Bible. Exactly. Evidence is overrated. We can just say, trust me because I said so. What's up, Charlie Welch? But yeah, so we're picking it. And this is another example of what I'm talking about here, right? Here we go.
No, pues no me voy a bajar. Entonces le tiene que... Si no me baja, si no, no, me, no, no deja que lo revienten. No, if it's against, No! Oh, mommy!
This is Salvadoran Elsie Noemi Barrios behind the wheel, detained by federal agents in Maryland earlier this week. Her daughter shot the video.
Ray! Don't grab her like that!
DHS said in a statement, this individual has been identified as an associate of the vicious MS-13 gang.
So this is where it's important. Identified as an associate of the vicious MS-13 gang. What does that mean? What do you mean that this person has been identified as an associate of the MS-13 gang? Can we provide any kind of evidence? See, now the problem is this is exactly what happened to Garcia. They said he was an associate or affiliated. He was a dangerous leader of the MS-13 gang. Picked him up and shipped him out. No due process. There was no need to prove that any of the things that they were saying. Excuse me. And all you fuckers who will talk this nonsense about, well, they're gang members. They don't have due process. Unfortunately, yes, they do. Unfortunate for your argument, they do have due process, regardless if they are or are not members of this vicious MS-13 gang, regardless if they're here, if their status here, their legal status here. Like this woman here. This woman was here on a legal work visa while she was going through the process of getting her citizenship. And they're rounding these people up to ship them off simply because, oh, well, she's an associate of the MS-13 gang. Prove it. Wearing a sport jacket will do it. I mean, you know. What's up, Kelly? Good to see you. Teresa, good to see you. How fucked up is that? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about them using whatever reasoning, whatever means, whatever. Yeah, you can't document who they are, says Nikoti. You can't document who they are if no due process. 100%, right? If they don't give them due process, how can we really say this is who this person is? It looks to me like they're just picking up a bunch of brown folk and shipping them out. Kind of looks like what happened to me.
Americans can rest assured that she's off our streets and locked up. Barrios' family was shocked by the allegation, saying their mother has no ties to MS-13 or any gang, adding that she held a valid work authorization while her immigration proceedings were pending. Her daughter saying simply, it's not true.
Oh my God.
My mother never done anything wrong for her to be able to like be treated any inhumane, because I can call this inhumane. Not like they didn't, I feel like they didn't do it professional. They're not doing their work professional. Not only with my mother, they're doing this with a lot of people, especially Hispanics.
According to ICE, Noemi Barrios remains detained at one of the agency's processing centers in rural Pennsylvania. Her attorney says she has a bond hearing scheduled for Monday, April 14th. DHS has not responded to multiple follow-up inquiries from CNN.
No, pues no me voy a bajar.
All right. Why is this so important? Why do I go so hard in the paint on this? Why do I talk about this often and bring this up? This is why. Supreme Court justices addressed Donald Trump's idea of deporting U.S. citizens. So that's on the table. Quote, deporting United States citizens. Citizens, not green card holders, not work visa, not student visa, United States citizens. Is ICE exempt from court-ordered warrants? No, they're not supposed to be. But when you've got the leader of the, quote, free world telling you to do whatever it is you got to do to get rid of these brown people, let's be honest, they're empowered and emboldened to do whatever they're going to do. Nobody's holding them accountable because nobody's holding the president accountable. That's something that I want to know what's going to happen if Trump, who has already bucked on bringing back Garcia, who's already said, no, we're not going to do that. I mean, what are we going to do? How are we going to, what is the Supreme Court going to do? What are the courts going to do? There is something they can do. The Supreme Court, or not Supreme Court, but courts can hold Trump in contempt of court if they don't follow their orders. I think this would fall back down to the circuit court that said, no, you can't just illegally deport somebody. You need to bring him back. And if he doesn't do it, then they can be held in contempt. There should be a contempt order. It's nice. And I appreciate the Supreme Court actually unanimously agreeing that this never should have happened and pointing out that this is absolutely out of line. Sorry, guys, I'm messing with this microphone here. But if they're not willing to actually hold him accountable, if they're not willing to actually slap Trump with contempt or with sanctions or with whatever it is they can do, then it's all meaningless. What? The land of the free, Rage Against the Machine. Know your enemy. Yep. We do not deport our own citizens, but we have. We have deported our own citizens. ACLU will get involved in a fast hurry for a wrongful deportation. ACLU needs to get in. I mean, they should already be involved in if you're talking about wrongful deportations, because the vast majority of the people who are shipped out are wrongful deportations. Because we're not giving them due process. We're not giving them the ability to say, no, I'm here. I have legal status. I have legal standing. And we're also deporting people, and this is what I don't understand. We're deporting folks for exercising their free speech. I couldn't stomach they held an American-born veteran for hours because he refused to give up his ID. 100%. What's up, Zachary Hooper? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm not a veteran, but it's just weird. Because if I were a veteran and I'm coming back to this country, if I'm in this country, I'm doing whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm living my life as a veteran. And somebody says you need to prove that you're a United States citizen, especially if I'm not in a no ID. If I'm in a no ID state, I don't have to. No, get fucked. What have I done wrong? Right. So there's one thing that there are very, very few things that First Amendment auditors get right. If you're not breaking law, if you're out and about in public, living your life, not causing harm to anybody, you don't have to show your ID. Some states you do, which I think is bullshit. I think Arizona is one of those states. Trump is probably operating under the assumption that due to the previous court ruling regarding presidential immunity, he can do whatever he wants. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of us talked about how dangerous that particular ruling was, giving just a never expiring, never ending get out of jail free card to presidents. That Supreme Court was like, yeah, it's fine. It was fine. No big deal. But yeah, so we've got 3 U.S. Supreme Court justices have cautioned the Trump administration against attempting to deport people, including U.S. citizens, without the courts weighing in. Why are we even talking about this? Why? Here's the thing. 10 years ago, if you were to say, hey, we're going to have this thing on the table, we're talking about deporting United States citizens, I would have just laughed in your face and said, you're out of your mind. Yes, Mr. Andrat, 100%. Papers, please. Again, if you don't want me calling you a fascist, stop doing fascist shit. It's real simple. Stop doing fascist shit. Fucking hell, man. Government lawyers had argued U.S. courts could not take action on a deportee who crossed intent. Well, yes, they can. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, somebody needs to sew her mouth shut, on Tuesday also said President Donald Trump had floated the idea of deporting U.S. citizens with criminal records. If there is a legal pathway, deport them where? Where are we deporting these legal citizens? Where are we supposed to deport people who were born in, Idaho, Boston? What happens when you elect a border wall builder? You get asked your papers. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, again, if you don't want me to call you a fascist, stop doing fascist shit. And when you're talking about targeting people whom you don't agree with, when you're talking about targeting people whom are here legally, who have the rights that citizens have when it comes to freedom of speech, assembly, etc., and you're saying, well, we're going to deport those people because we don't like their positions, that's dangerous. Everyone needs to understand he is isolating the country and everyone in it. He is going to use Musk's robots for control and manufacturing. I believe so. D. Rabbis is sitting here in Canada. I mean, there you go. The three had papers. Yeah. But it's all okay. There'll be a cool parade soon. Yeah. ICE is trying to deport Native Americans. Here's the thing. And we have fucked around with Native Americans for centuries. We need to stop. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's not hard. Just, you see Native American brothers and sisters out there having a good time, doing a thing, living their lives, fucking with nobody. Leave them alone. Just real simple. Just do that. I can't even, it's unfathomable that we're actually having a discussion about looking for a legal pathway to deport U.S. citizens. The MAGA crowd who call their opposition fascists are just beyond. I had to define fascism for them, and they got, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: I say here's the thing too much. I know I gotta stop, but when you take let's just look it up. Let's just look up the litmus test for fascism. All right. Let me find a decent one. Da, 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 da. No, that's not it. No, that's not what I want. Let's just look at the 5 stages of fascism. Oh, this is a very long paper. Well, I say very long. This is, 24 pages. We're not going to go through all of them. So what does it mean to be? Let's just look up the definition of fascism and do it that way. All right, here we go. Now, this is according to Merriam-Webster. There are 14 steps of fascism, you say? If I can be deported to Norway, I'll happily not come back. I mean, Norway seems to be kind of a cool place. All right, so often fascism is a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual, that is associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, and that is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation and forcible suppression of opposition. Any of those sound like what some of the things that Trump is doing? Any of those, like forcible suppression of opposition? Deport Americans to Alaska, a whole different land. It's too cold for me up there. I know I just complained. Well, no, I did not here. I did earlier. I complained about it being too hot in Texas, but it was 90 degrees today, and we're in spring. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, at the core of fascism is loyalty to tribe. How many MAGAdiots do you people know? I say you people. Do you folks know who are extremely loyal? Does that sound like something that MAGA crowd is? Extremely loyal to Trump and what Trump says. You see it in these street interviews. People are like, well, can you tell me blah, blah, blah. What, there was one where this guy was talking to this woman and defined something that Trump did, but said it was Joe Biden who did it. Oh, it was the bone spurs in his leg thing, right? And talk about Joe Biden didn't serve because of bone spurs in his leg and blah, blah, blah. And she just, oh, that's just horrible. And, Joe Biden's just not fit to be this, that, and the other. And he was like, oh, wait, no, I got the name wrong. It was actually Donald Trump. And she's like, well, there are a lot of reasons why people couldn't go. It's like immediately switched into the apologetics for Donald Trump. But that loyalty, ethnic identity, does that sound like something we're talking about? Ethnic identity. I know I think what we're really doing is we're trying to hide it behind, the ethnic identity. We're hiding behind what it means to be an American. We're American. What they mean is white American. Religion. That's an interesting one. Didn't we have what's her name become the head of Trump's religious office or some dumb shit like that? tradition, or in a word, nation. That's the Jason Stanley. Dictatorial leader. So, do we think that Trump is a dictator, or is he trying to be? They're in public. When you talk one-on-one, they disagree. We were watching The Handmaid's Tale, and the U.S. is down to 2 states, Alaska and Hawaii. I haven't been able to keep up with that because I don't have Hulu anymore, but I watched, I think, the first 3 seasons, and, hey, Clyde Wells, Mr. Andrew, they're called Patriots. Yeah, nobody likes the New England Patriots except for people in New England. I'm kidding. I know. I'm just kidding. They're calling themselves Patriots. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be a patriot? Oh, hey everybody. We've got one of the top mag idiots in the crowd. It's good. Good to see you there, Coded. You hang out and have a good time. You want spoilers, D-Rap? Oh yeah, that Handmaid's Tale was a pretty big spoiler. He isn't a dictator. He's a dictator. He is a piece of shit. That's for certain. But yeah, so tell me, does it sound like some of these things that aptly define fascism happening with our current administration? Alec was a big start of this, but should have ousted lobbyists a long time ago. I honestly think that one of the biggest things that we could do to help with our government, the level of corruption in government, would be to limit the amount of money that anybody can lobby. Like, take 10 grand total. That's the amount of money total that you can use as an organization or an individual to, quote, lobby the government, regardless. And I'm not talking 10,000 per, I mean 10,000 total, right? So if you're Philip Morris, right, and you want to, sponsor a bill, you can do 10, or not sponsor a bill, but if you want to, lobby that certain bill gets sponsored, $10,000 is the most you can do. Mr. E-Man, what's up? He has gifted 10 plot hole memberships. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. All of you enjoy those little emojis down there. They're old. I haven't updated them. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. They're aggressively attacking the freedom of speech using deportation threats. Sounds dictatorial to me. Yes. 100% is yes. When you're saying that, well, when you say something that we disagree with, here's the thing. They're not actively saying that, right? It just so happens that 2 people whom spoke out against the atrocities that are happening in Palestine, they just so happen to be deported. I'm not saying it's because they're pro-Palestine. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's because they're brown. I'm just saying. Yeah, come on now. Let's see here. Exalts nation. Sometimes nationalism kind of divulges into fascism, but there is a nationalistic thread inside of fascism. Usually that's how they disguise what they're trying to do. Is JL here? What's up, buddy? But yeah, when they try to disguise what they're doing. Well, it's for the better of the nation. We're going to make the nation better by getting rid of all these illegals, and even though they're not illegals, it's interesting. So yeah, you've got lots of fascist markers there. They have CPS following them, busted by color of your skin. That's another thing, right? Why are we sending ICE? So here's the thing. If these deportations are trying to target violent criminals, why are we sending ICE to schools looking for children? Put a $1 billion price on the presidency, fix the deficit. Elon got it cheap at $250,000. He did get it pretty cheap. $1 billion price. That's, but when you're talking about $1 trillion debt, $1 billion is nothing. Like George Carlin said, now we put large holes in other countries, not because they're trying to take over the world, just because they're brown. Mm. Mm. Yeah, 250 million. Yeah, you said 250,000. Yeah, I should have read it as 250 million, but yeah. Just saying, if you don't want me to call you a fascist, don't do fascist shit. Don't throw Nazi salutes and don't round people up based on the fact that you disagree with them or they're saying something that you disagree with. You know, don't revoke press credentials because you think that this certain thing is, oh, you guys are fake news. Therefore, I'm going to revoke your press credentials. I'm going to revoke your press credentials because you refuse to say Gulf of America. Really? That's like the bar of what it takes. My goodness. So does anyone believe that something will change? Here's the thing. I think it will eventually come to head. Yep, last Thursday they hit private church-run schools. So they're sending after church-run schools, private schools. So again, oh, PhD Tony, are you back? Are you back and saying hello? Well, hello again. Hello to you, PhD Tony. I have two PhDs in here, PhD Tony and Dr. Clive Wells. Yeah. It's good times, man. Does anyone believe that he can be stopped from continuing to destroy the country? He can. It's just going to take a lot of effort, right? So the golden rule, put in simpler terms, says don't be a dick. Yeah, 100%. Why not the Gulf of Trump? Well, he didn't want to be too, whatever. So, I mean, it's going to take concentrated effort, right? People have to get out there and they actually have to. It really does start locally. You've got to make the changes locally. You've got to take part in your city governments, take part in school board meetings, take part in anything that you can. You know what I mean? Get involved in local elections, county elections, state elections, district, all that. So get involved in all that. Know who your Congress people are. Know who your representatives are. Have a list. I mean, it takes work, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy to affect that big of a change. Sandy D says, dang it, I only have my master's. I can't compete with the PhDs in the room. That's okay. It's okay. There's it's not a competition in here. We respect people with master's degrees as well. I only have a bachelor's, so I don't have a master's. So now I've just took a step down the rung of importance on the education ladder. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you got to get out there and you have to talk to your local representatives. Let them know how you feel. Write letters. Contact your local ACLU. There's another one you can get involved with. Get involved with the ACLU. Do your thing. Start local. Support your community. Get involved. D-Raps. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Zach Ruby says, I got kicked out of high school. And see, you're still doing okay. Sandy D, there's going to be a point in time where I seriously consider, because the idea for me when I went back to college, what was it? 11 years ago. Well, I graduated 11 years ago. I went back like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Golly, has it been that long? No, it was longer than that. It took me a while. Anyway, the idea, not even a master's, Johnny, unsubbing. Oh, Clive, but hang on. Before you go, listen to my plan. I was going to go all the way to PhD in English, but when I graduated last semester, my youngest was born. She was born premature, so there were a lot of things that had to happen for her health, and I didn't have the money to go and pursue my master's or PhD at the time. So, it is what it is. And I'm thinking about going back. I'm thinking about applying. So I know there are some places that I can apply direct to their PhD program. I know that TCU has a direct to under certain circumstances. But I'll look. How many people are too afraid to stand up for fear of retaliation? Yeah, that's kind of a thing too, right? So we have this chilling effect, right? When we're talking about essentially, well, here we are talking about what we can and can't say, because if we say the wrong thing, then we're going to be deported because we said free Palestine at the wrong place at the wrong time, and now we're getting deported. Or we said, I don't agree with what Trump is doing, and then they got deported. Yeah, that's kind of an issue. Suppression of people who disagree with you. Again, if you don't want me to call you fascist, stop doing fascist shit. But I got to say, I do appreciate the Supreme Court having the stones to stand up on this particular issue and saying, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that. It was unanimous, 9-0. Unanimously came together and said, this is not right. This is unconstitutional. People have due process for a reason. Had you had due process, you would have saw that what you were doing was not right. You wouldn't have had your clerical error, which is bullshit. We all know it's bullshit. It wasn't a clerical error. It's the biggest fucking bullshit, biggest fucking bullshit excuse I've ever heard. Well, we put a comma where we were supposed to put a semicolon, and then all of a sudden we accidentally deported a guy to a place he wasn't supposed to be deported to. Mr. Andrews says, my non-PhD is worth nothing. I'm unemployed. Well, you know what? There's no judgment here. They threatened me with obstruction. Really? What are they? Obstruction of what? I need context. Send me the context of the story. I'm really curious about that. The Trump team is still dragging their heels on getting him. Yeah, and they're going to, right? They're going to continue to drag the heels until the Supreme Court, until the circuit courts, until all these fucking people who are telling this asshole he can't do this shit actually force him to do it. Midterms is going to be big, right? Midterms is going to be huge. And you've got to start now with your campaigns. And I'm not talking about the people up for House and whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you helping collect the vote. Here's one thing that you can do. Now you can't say you can't do the whole, well, if you're a Democrat, I'll do this. You can't do any of that. What you can do is you can organize a bus route, right? Private bus, whatever. I know it's expensive, right? It's not cheap. But you can organize transportation for all of those who are in areas that have been, like in Texas, that have been gerrymandered, or in areas where they have reduced the amount of polling places. I think it's funny that when they reduced the amount of polling places in the state of Texas, they did it in the more urban areas, a place where there were going to be more Democratic votes. Very interesting. They are saying they are not really sure where he is. And you know what? That's probably true. They probably aren't really sure where he really is, other than he's probably dead. I hate to be the fucking person to say it, but he probably died. He probably got sent to this place he wasn't supposed to be sent to because he was a target of those very gangs that he was supposedly a leader of. He was a target of. That's why he came to this country. That's why they were told, you can't be deported back to, oh, it's so stupid. Anyway, volunteer locally to help. Yes. So if you can organize transportation for those people who have difficult time getting to polling stations, and again, you can't say if you're a Democratic voter only. No, it's got to be, if you want to vote, I'll be here with this bus or whatever, and we'll take you to go vote. Perhaps someone should send Trump a coloring in book that will keep him occupied for weeks, maybe months. Depends. If you get him one of those like Charlie Brown ones, he might like it. Yeah, they're not looking. Of course not. They're not looking. They're not going to look for him. And, even if they did, it probably would be extremely difficult to find him because of the sheer number of folks they've sent to this fucking El Salvadorian prison. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid. Again, if you're not wanting me to call you fascist, don't do fascist shit. Just don't do it. Real simple. His advisors are just as bad, though. And that's the problem. It's not just Trump. It's Trump and all of his cronies. It's Vance. It's, Pam Bondi. It's, Caroline Leavitt is just a mouthpiece. That's all she does is blah, 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 blah. Just a mouthpiece. So regurgitate the stupid shit that Donald Trump says. I don't see how these people can honestly do that and not like hate themselves. Before transporting, get a permit for transporting voters from election officials. 100%. Yes. So make sure you follow, and this is going to vary state to state, but make sure you follow whatever the local and state laws that govern doing what I'm suggesting doing. Contact your local governments and find out what can I do. Contact the ACLU. What can I do to help make sure that people get to vote? Again, do not say Democratic votes only. Anybody who wants to vote and can't find a ride to vote, anybody, I will drive you there. We'll boom, take you there and take you back. Right? Take them in groups. And it may only be that you can do like 100 people per trip, and you can only do like 4 days, right? So that's 400 people, but it's something. Especially if we're talking about local stuff, local elections. But midterm elections are huge. It's a huge deal, and I don't know if we're going to see the same sort of kind of like shift. Historically, whenever we've had a GOP controlled or a Democratic controlled House presidency and Senate, midterms kind of swing that pendulum back the other way. Boycott Tesla and Starlink to bankrupt Musk. That way he won't have the funds to do Clive Wells. Unfortunately, the problem that you have with that is that you will boycotting them. You might put Starlink and Tesla out, but you're not going to put Musk out because Musk, he's got his money shelled up pretty well. These rich fuckers, what they like to do is borrow against their wealth, their stocks in Tesla and whatever. So they don't pay. This is how they get around paying capital gains tax. I got $400 million. $400 billion is what I'm worth, right? That's what I'm worth. It's not like I have $400 billion in cash. That's just absurd, right? Nobody's got that. It's all right, unfucking believable. You're good. I'd be worried about the colonel getting fired in Greenland. That's going to be an interesting thing. We're talking about sending troops to Panama. Are you fucking kidding me? Married women may not be able to vote when Trump signs the SAVE Act. This is also a concern. Again, married women, go get your passports. I know it's difficult for people because it's not cheap. Getting a passport is not cheap for somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck, doesn't know where their next meal is coming from. I get it, right? I understand. He gets too much government funding on contract. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And I thought Sleeve was a math genius. Billions is a lot of cash to bankrupt. Yeah, it is. So Elon Musk will take his billions of dollars to the bank and borrow against his stock, and then just that's what he does, right? They never pay back the money. They never pay back what they borrow. They just don't. That's how they avoid paying capital gains, and that's how they continue to get more and more wealthy. It's ridiculous. But yes, that's another thing. You can help folks get their passports. Women specifically, helping them get their passports. That's tough, man. That is a tough one. 1 billion is like 305,000 a day for yeah. Are the real IDs in America a substitute for a passport? No. That's just real ID is not a substitute for a passport. Now I can use my real ID to go to like Mexico and Canada. Sort of. I have to have my birth certificate with me because I don't have a passport, but I have a passport, then it's no big deal. But again, a passport is the way to make sure that, because that's verified identity. That's a government verified identity. I'm changing my name back because I'm concerned that they'll zero out passports. So that is also a concern. And that's another thing. Women, you can change your name, go back to your maiden names. That way it matches your birth certificate. So these are things that you can help in your local communities, right? You can find women who may be affected by this and help them either get their passports, help them change their names back from their maiden names or from their married names to their maiden names. Make sure they all have access and have, get their documents for it. Help them get their documents, right? Show them how they can go get a passport or their birth certificate or whatever it is they need, their social security or whatever it is they need. So you think not paying tax is bad? Any stock owner can borrow. I know, and yes, Cody, we know this. We know any stock owner can borrow against. But here's the thing: somebody who owns $1,000 in stock versus somebody who owns $400 billion in stock, they're going to have a little bit of a different time with that. And it's about paying capital. It's about capital gains tax. So I think, yes. Do I think not paying tax is bad? Yes, I think not paying tax on $400 billion is bad. Yep. So yeah, Cody, you're not going to win that with me. And that's fine. The rich not paying tax is objectively bad. 100%. 100%. When I pay more taxes than Elon Musk, that is objectively bad. Just is. But yeah, help folks get their birth certificates, help them get their IDs, help them get their passports, help women with, if they want to do the name change, help them with that. You know, you can take up collections and drives and organize together to put funds together to help pay for these things for people. You know what I mean? It might be drops in the bucket, but we got to start small, right? Start small and then get it bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm just going to put this up here because I want to make sure people understand that this is 100% agreeable statement. The rich not paying tax is objectively bad. Objectively bad. 100%. This is funny. I just pulled up my social medias, and one of my professors at university just posted, and you said you voted for him for financial reasons. Eat the rich, Motorhead. Yep. Eat the rich. And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with people working and making money and earning and, you know, playing, even in the stock market, right? Getting money, winning money. Building wealth via the stock market, I don't necessarily have issue with that. I don't have a problem with people buying. I don't have a problem with people selling. I don't have a problem with people building their wealth, taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, taking care of their community. I don't have a problem with any of that. What I do have a problem with is somebody worth $400 billion taking away services from folks who paid into the system for those services, either with money or their bodies. So yes, I have a problem with going after VA benefits. I have a problem with going after Social Security benefits, Medicaid benefits, Section 8 benefits. I have a problem with all those things. I myself used those things many years ago, not VA benefits because I'm not a veteran, not Medicaid for my kids. But I used those programs many, many years ago when we hit downtimes, my wife and I. And we were able to use those programs like many people do to get ourselves out of poverty, of object poverty. We were able to, boom, you know, it's part of the way I was able to get myself through college whilst working, mind you, was to take advantage of Section 8 housing, food stamps, etc. We didn't qualify for TANF, but we did qualify for Medicaid. We did those things and we got ourselves out of the position, got ourselves into a position to be able to buy our first house, in a position to where we no longer needed those services. Things have changed a little bit. Things got a little more difficult recently, but that is what it is. It's worth keeping your financial information secure, 100%. You let your passport expire too late to renew. You know, it's a process. It is. You can expedite it by having travel plans. What seasonings do I need for slow roasted rich person? I don't salt. Lime salt. Just kidding, guys. But, you know, school lunches is one that I don't get. Yeah, right. Why we're taking away school lunches? That's so stupid. I have yet to meet an actual, like a real person. A real person. I've met, you know, a bunch of these fucking idiots over the internet with their big balls and things like, oh, I'm so tough, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. I've yet to meet a single person who actually agrees with taking away school lunches for kids. Let's find out here. What does it cost? Okay, in the fiscal year of 2022, the National School Lunch Program cost the United States federal government around 28.7 billion US dollars. It's a decrease from the previous year, which when the National School $700 billion. What? That doesn't make sense. So we'll say 30 billion. $30 billion is what it takes to feed kids, right? Yeah, which turns out to something like $1 a day after you do the math. When you come back here. When you take a look at how many kids are taking it, how many kids are using it, how many kids, well, I think even if you divvy it up, because I think it was a free lunch program for everybody, but if you divvy it up against every single student in every single school, yeah, it was like $1 a day. Corned beef, pickling spice, and pink salt. Interesting. And it is state by state, but I think on average, this program provides low cost or free lunches to children in nearly 100,000 schools. Like, I don't ever remember this being a huge deal growing up. An annual cost of around $17.2 billion on average. Cutting school meal programs is evil. I would agree. And here's the thing. Just because you don't need it doesn't mean that you shouldn't get it. And I understand why they did it, right? Because growing up, being a part of like the bully, I wasn't a bully, but being a part of the bully generation in the 80s and 90s, kids would make fun of other kids who had to use free lunch. They just would. So to combat that, everybody gets it. Everybody gets free lunch. Like, I don't understand like what the problem is there. I don't understand where the issue is. Oh, stupid kids, shouldn't feed them. Good for you, Coded. Great. That's awesome. Awesome. That's so awesome for you. You're the best person ever. You're the greatest. Cool. Some people can't afford that. Some people can't deal with that. Some people have other difficulties that you didn't. Some people are living in crushing poverty. And before you give me that stupid bullshit, well, they shouldn't be having children, bullshit answer, that dumb fuck answer that I know is swimming around in those two brain cells of yours. What does it have to do with the children being here? And why are you so willing to punish children for what you call mistakes that the parents made? Maybe you should get your head out of your ass. The food is crap, but it's food. Some kids get nothing. It does vary school to school. Some schools a little better than others. And I do think that the food that we feed our children should be a little more nutritious. Yes. I think we should have more healthy options. I think there should be more fresh options. I think we could do that relatively easily. And yes, school meals subsidize farmers. That's another thing, right? So part of that USAID stuff and part of that school lunch program helped U.S. farmers. But we're getting rid of it. Now U.S. farmers are like, well, that sucks. There goes a third of our profit. Even if it was a parent's fault for budgeting poorly, just feed the kids. They aren't learning if they aren't eating. 100%. 100%. Just feed the kids. That's all that matters. Why this is even a discussion? Why there's even a disconnect here about should we feed the children? Yes, we should. I don't have a problem paying taxes to feed children. Hey, Mrs. Schrodinger's cat, good to see you. Hope all is well. But yeah, why are we punishing children, or even talking about, well, we shouldn't feed them? Why is that even a discussion? Hello, Mrs. Tom. Unfucking believable says kids should not starve because rents are so high. Parents can barely afford a house, apartment. Yeah. So if you take a look at the cost of living from, we'll say the 60s, even probably go back even farther. Probably you have to go back that far. We probably go to as early as the 80s, and look at the cost of living. Like, I have this discussion with my father often. Just, well, it's people paying too much for, they're doing their extra thing. And here's the thing. Yeah, there's a lot of extra little things that we buy as consumers that we probably could do without. But at the end of the day, I think, who was it? Was it Brian Taylor Cohen who showed that if you took the average money that people spend per year on coffee, like going to Starbucks or whatever, that if you did that over the year, that wouldn't be enough to even pay 2 months or a month of rent or some shit like that. Because it trains the young to be government dependents. Hey, fucko, you're a government dependent too, whether you like to admit it or not. All of us are in some way, shape, or form dependent on the government. Because I don't see your dumbass out there fucking building roads. I don't see your dumbass out there fucking working on infrastructure projects. I don't see your dumbass out there fucking doing it. So get fucked. You don't put out your own house fire. You don't police your own neighborhood. So get away. Bye. You're an idiot. Things are going okay. Still trying to find a house and a job. I think this move was a mistake. Well, look, you got to try new things. It is. Just got to try new things. I ate packed lunches too, and occasionally from school menu my parents could afford to feed me. It would never occur to me to look at my situation and say, fuck that, everyone must do as I had. Yeah, I mean, it's so stupid, right? To say that, well, because my situation, that means everybody's situation. That's not what it means. And the mental gymnastics you have to get from feeding a child at school to, well, now that child is dependent on the government is so mind-boggling to me. Because we feed them, that means they're dependent on the government. So fucking stupid. Just so dumb. A lot of extra buying is a coping mechanism to deal with a hopeless feeling situation financially. So there is some of that. But at the end of the day, why is it so wrong for the everyday average consumer to try to keep the economy stimulated? One person removing their coffee purchases, no big deal. It's infinitesimal. It's like, 1,000 people, 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people. Now we're talking about bringing the cost of goods. We're talking about removing businesses from making money. We have a community grocery store here that have amazing prices, but this would need a whole stream video. They have near zero paid employees, all volunteers, 3 hours a month, all DM. Yeah, I'm curious. I would like to see that. They want to raise an uneducated labor force that they can send into the fields to replace the immigrants. 100%. So when you got Florida talking about removing restrictions on child labor, what kind of fucking stupid shit is this? Hey, Gia, I donate to Food Kitchen at church every month. And that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. We should all do what we can to help out where we can help out, however it is we can help out. If it's something as simple as picking up garbage from from your parks or your streets or whatever you can do, whatever little thing you can do to help ease stress, tension. I went to school with a lot of low-income kids living in rough neighborhoods. Their lives are hard. Why would you add hunger to that burden? In addition to this, food encourage these kids. Yeah, right. And look, here's the thing. Some of these kids only eat when they go to school. You want to argue about why that's bad? We can argue about why that's bad separately. But some of these kids only get to eat when they go to school. Now, so I get it. People don't understand. I don't understand that. Well, because you never lived it. You don't know what it's like. You don't lift somebody out of poverty by doing everything in your power to make sure they stay in abject poverty. They bust kids in here with no lunch packed. Yeah, I mean, maybe our government needs to read Oliver Twist. I don't think Trump can read. There are not enough pictures in it either. It would have to be a picture book, like a pop-up book where Oliver Twist pops up and says, please, sir, I have some more. But it has to speak. That would be cool. Like the pop-up book that talks and gives you reads it to you. There's an idea. Now, if anybody takes that idea and makes a bunch of money on it, you know what I mean? Send it this way. People can't be expected to do without coffee when their long-term goals have been made impossible. People need something positive in their lives, even if it's just a coffee. Yeah, I mean, why are we taking that away from them? Why are we suggesting that that's the reason why? Why are we not looking at the fact that the cost of a house has more than quadrupled in the past 10 years, 20 years? I bought my first house, let's see, 2013. We paid $65,000 for it. It was a three-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. It wasn't huge. It was built in the 50s. You know what I mean? It wasn't a great house, but it was a house that we bought for $65,000. They all gave Governor Waltz crap for providing necessities for free, tampons, food for kids, etc. Yeah, and that whole tampon thing. Excuse me. I should have brought my water over here. There it is right there. I think you can see it right there. My gigantic jug of water. It looks really tiny when it's way back there, but when it's up here, it's very large. It's, the gallon. But yeah, they're telling men they're telling the boys they have to have tampons in the boys' room. Like, no, they didn't. That's not what the bill said. And if you just read the bill, you can read the bill. It didn't say anything like that. Just said they had to be available to people who needed it. If you look at Europe, free college and all education is merit based, and they have free lunches and food is amazing. They eat off plates. Yeah, I mean, we seem to be the only first world country who can't seem to figure out how to do these things effectively. You think maybe it's because we spend too much time arguing about it? Maybe. My goodness. The level of conversations that we have based on the sheer stupidity coming from the top down right now, the White House and Trump and his cronies. Just, my goodness. It's insane. All right, quick update. The sauce, I don't know what is taking so long. It still has not shipped, according to this. Let me look it up one more time. Let me find. Trans rights is human rights, 100%. Greed, 100%. Yep. Let me find. Where am I looking here? See if they've shipped today. All right, USPS.com. Show me. Still in pre-shipment. I'm going to have to contact them, find out what the deal is, because this has been too long. It's been 12 days, almost 2 weeks. Who cares if boys see feminine hygiene products? Maybe we'll normalize them for. You know what? At the end of the day, they did put them in men's rooms. Who gives a shit, right? So what? Because there's a tampon in the boys' room. What does that mean? Where's the boogeyman here? What's the boogeyman if there's a tampon in the boys' room? Somebody explain the boogeyman to me there. I donate $40K to ALS Foundation every year. I lost my mother to it. Red Cross, ASPCA, and volunteer at local services. I do what I can to do. That's great. Gee, yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting in and helping out where you can help out is 100% is great. And I applaud everybody who gets out there and does what they can do to help. Right? Like we'll do charity streams here where I'll put a link that you can donate directly to. The money doesn't go to me. The money goes directly to charities. Like we did one for who was it? St. Jude's, right? Did it through YouTube. There was a link. Every super chat, everything went directly to St. Jude's, right? Perfect, great. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Some people can't. Some people can't. They don't have the time. They don't have the energy. They don't have the money. I understand. If you can't, you can't. Right? I'm not going to shame you for not helping out. If you can, let's see what we can do. Unisex bathrooms. Yeah, in 2014, I was at the University of Minnesota. We were there in a journalism conference, and we went to this place next to the campus called Dinkytown, right? People from Minnesota will know Dinkytown. There was a bar there that had 3 levels. It was really cool, but downstairs where the bathrooms were, there was just one giant area of bathrooms. That was it. You had your sinks, and then you had individual stalls. That's all they had. There was no men's room, women's room. It was just a place to piss and shit. That's it. No big deal. Nobody gave a shit. Well, somebody probably left a shit, but Dinkytown, man, that was a cool little place when I was there. We had fun. Like we would do our journalism we would go to our different speakers and different events throughout the conference, and then at the end of the day, we would just go to Dinkytown, and there were a lot of things to go check out. Some nice little eateries, a couple of bars that were down there that we frequented. It was really cool. The college campuses there were nice. The kids were really, really not forgiving, but they were very. Well, what's the word? Some of them were in awe of the fact that we're from Texas, which, like, come on, guys, we're 2000s now. But aren't poop and pee sexed? Yeah. You live in Minneapolis? Yeah. I didn't mind Minneapolis when I was there. I thought it was nice. It was a little humid and it rained a little bit, but it was fine. What's up, Brandon Riley? No worries. Just again, when people, if you come in at the end of the show or getting close to the end of the show, which we are, just go all the way back to the beginning and watch it from the beginning, and it's like you never left. It's like you've been here the whole time. And I promise I'll answer your questions. But yeah, no, Dinkytown was fun. Minnesota was fun. The university visit was fun. We had a good time, learned a lot, got to meet a lot of different people. We got to the Charles Schultz, was it the Minnesota Star, where Schultz did Peanuts. It was cool. Got to talk to some. We got to sit into an actual situation room with I almost said lawyers, not lawyers, reporters, journalists who discussed what they were working on, stories were going. It was really fucking cool. The Star Tribune, yes, that's the one. Star Tribune, that's where we were, on Schultz Avenue. It's great. They had Snoopy, and they had Charlie Brown and Lucy and all that. Yeah. Do you know why Oklahoma is so flat? Texas sucks. Well, so does Oklahoma. Okay. I kid all my Oklahoma buddies. Wait, we can watch it again and again and pump the views once per 24 hours. You can do that, D-Rabbits. You don't have to do that because I get it. You know, people have lives, but you can't do that. So yeah, I'm sorry to have a video out today. I totally planned on having one out. Matter of fact, everything we just talked about on this, well, not everything, but the majority of what we talked about on this stream was going to be in that video. But I had to work yesterday. I did a thing that I'm not allowed to talk about for some reason. It's not even something that you would see. It's something that it's a proof of concept. Well, not even a proof. It's like a trailer concept for a film they want to shoot. And I understand why they don't want to talk about it, but we did some pretty cool stuff. I almost got in trouble because I posted a BTS video, but I kind of showed what was going on a little bit, but mostly I post stuff like my work. You know, as a gaffer, I'll show like myself. So we had this big 20 by 20 blue screen set. It was fucking huge. We had to, hoist it up, and it was great. A lot of good stuff. Excuse me. The fact I have a life is why I can do it. Let the PC watch when I'm busy. There you go. Didn't the Romans have public co-ed toilets with no? Yeah, they did. It was just a big watering hole. You piss and shit in it. It's not a big deal. I don't understand why the bathroom became such. Well, I do understand why the bathroom became such a thing, because it was a way to attack. It was a way to get people who were not comfortable attacking trans or same-sex marriage to attack same-sex marriage. Help if you can, otherwise give time. Night, everyone. Long day. All right, Gia. Good night. Have a good one. Bessie and I were able to get behind the scenes tour of the U.S. Capitol. We got our pic taken on the U.S. Senate press stage. The most honest people ever to stand behind the podium. I would believe that. I need to write a script file that auto watches. That would be interesting. You could probably make some money off of that. Probably make some money off of that. All right. It is that time, I think. It is that time. Boom. I've been to third world countries where people just piss and shit in the streets. Yeah, that happens too. But like I said, the bathroom thing is just so stupid. It's a bathroom. America stalls aren't very private. It has nothing to do with gender expression, though. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It has everything to do with the fact that we don't like them trans folks. I'll say it. Said it before. I'll say it again. If your issue with trans people, trans women using the bathroom is that a man is going to pretend to be a trans woman in order to use the bathroom to assault your wife or daughter, then your problem isn't a trans person. Your problem is a man. I'm not the first person to say that, I know. Oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about, because I saw it on John Oliver's show, and I promise I'll be quick. Because somebody mentioned the trans, we started talking about the trans issue. I didn't realize that trans athletes were so abundant. So abundant. We have so many trans athletes that became the huge talking point of the GOP. We have so many trans athletes. Do you guys know how many trans athletes we have in this country right now? Competing at the collegiate or you know how many we have? Anybody? Yeah, 5. 5. It's less than 2%. I think it's less than 2% of the entire collegiate or professional population of athletes are transgender. And of all those transgender athletes who aren't, who, like, let's say we're talking about high school, like, do you realize that, let's say LeBron James, right, could no longer hack it in the NBA, and he wanted to compete in the WNBA. Do you know that he would have to go through 2 years of hormone, closer to 0.2% Rodinella? It's probably closer to 0.2%, is correct. But he would have to go through 2 years of documented hormone therapy before he would even be eligible to make that transition. But cats sleeping with dogs. Yeah, right. I doubt many cis men would pretend to be trans even for their career. Yeah, they don't. It just doesn't happen. It does not happen. There is not a professional, there has not been a single professional, semi-professional, collegiate, high school athlete that said, I'm going to transition because I want to play sports. Not a single one. It has never happened. Now, there are trans athletes in those sports, but those are people who decided they wanted to play sports. Not people who said, oh, I can't hack it in my boys' baseball team, so I'm going to go transition to a woman to play softball. Have any of you people tried to hit a softball fast pitch softball pitched by even a high school level pitcher? I can tell you, as somebody who played baseball, I didn't play baseball for high school before anybody, whatever. I didn't. But somebody who played baseball and has swung at 80-mile-an-hour fastballs, 90-mile-an-hour fastballs, curveballs, changeups, I would happily do that before getting on to a fast pitch softball at 60 miles an hour. That 60-mile-an-hour fast pitch comes at you so differently. It is not simple. It's not a simple transition. Just make sports performance-based. Fast women end up competing with slow men. Big fucking deal. As a tribute to Val Kilmer, my fiance and I will be watching the movie Willow. I love that movie. Trans chess players are the worst, though. Not a thing. There was so Oliver mentions the study that was done talking about the number of medals that were taken away from athletes. And looking at that study, it's so stupid. It doesn't even, it's self-reporting, number one. The way they count the medals is bullshit, number two. And number three, they were talking about things like poker. That's the WSOP is open to anybody. There's not a women's division of I take that back. There is a women's division of the main event, but those women still compete against those men. Like it's. Oh no, boogeymen everywhere. I thought some were supposed to be the masculine alpha types, biggest wusses in the world. No shit. No shit. All these fucking Republicans talking about snowflake this and snowflake that are the biggest fucking snowflakes. The biggest. Zachary Hoover says, I like women's wrestling. Does that count? Sure, I guess. Oh, hey, WWE, they have women wrestle men from time to time. It happens. Oh, no. Oh, no. What will happen to Hulk Hogan now? Okay, it is that time. You guys are awesome. Hopefully, we'll get a better update on the sauce. If not, I'll have to source it elsewhere because you guys, the song. I just like it. Okay. I like this. I bought one that I like. I bought one that I didn't like because you guys wanted me to buy it, and I did. I don't like it. It's one of the characteristics of fascism. Get a scapegoat. Oh my God, somebody pointed it out. Thank you so much, D Rabbits. 100%. Find a scapegoat. Trans women. I was going to say fascist. Trans women and those gang members, those dirty gang members. If you want to see a MAGA have a meltdown, tell them that Trump lost in a free and fair election in two. Okay. Y'all trying to lasso me into another one. Zachary Hooper is trying to lasso me into another one. But did you guys see the leaked audio where Trump says that he got extra? Anybody? I know that Ken Paxton here in Texas talked about the suppression of votes on Steve Bannon's show. I just don't know what's going on. Is it working? Who knows? All right, that's it. No, it's not working. No, I really got to get out of here. I've got other things to do. Zachary Hooper, I have things to do. I have a session tomorrow. Musicians coming in to play some piano, some piano piece for a film that I'm working on, and I got to be up and ready for that. So I gotta go. I love all you guys. All you ladies and gentlemen in the chat, you are awesome. I love all of you. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Be safe out there. Be excellent to each other. Make sure you do the things you need to do to get from point A to point B as safely as possible. Have fun, though. Don't forget to have fun. That's super important. Cheers, everybody. We will see you next time.